All right.
What are you doing?
Can everyone see this?
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect. All righty. So for this evening, to get started, our first thing for you all is going to be our Strava update with Saul. So Strava with Saul, then we'll move on to our challenge number 3, which Saul will also be updating you on. And then we'll have a special education presentation tonight by David and Lauren, who will be updating us or giving us an educational post about sleep and the importance of muscle recovery and how important that is for all of us to do. And then we'll have our important dates with me. And then at the end, instead or in lieu of our family time, we are actually going to have a special presentation by Lauren and Simia from the Movement Network, who are going to give us a presentation on exercising with arthritis. So we'll get started with Saul on our updates from Strava.
Hello, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Saul. It's nice to meet you. Oh, can we move on to the next slide? There you go. So we now have 112 participants. That's amazing. And now we also have 3,009 miles that we have completed. So where does that put us on the world? If we go north, we end up in Elif Rhines Island. So it's actually owned by Queen Elizabeth, and it was found in 1901 by Otto Sverdrup and his Norwegian entourage. I didn't know we could own islands, if I have to be honest. So I was really shocked. So, and if we go east, we end up in Newfoundland and Labrador. According to their website, they're known for their very welcoming and friendly community, and their most abundant mammal is a moose. So you'll see a lot of signs where it says, slow down because there's a moose crossing by. So if you're driving down the highway, you'll probably run into a moose. And if we go south, we'll end up in Ecuador. So Darwin's theory of evolution started in the Galapagos Islands, which is in Ecuador. And for you chocolate lovers out there, they have a long history of chocolate. So I think we probably found home. And so think about your favorite chocolate and times that by 10. They probably have that. And if we go west, we end up in Neshkan, Russia. So Neshkan actually translates to seal's head. So when the village was found, there was a mountain that surrounded the village that looked like a seal's head. And they named it Neshkan. So for this week's leaderboards, we have Dulce, Tim, Cassandra, Jaime, Melinda, Meredith, Irma, Rachel, Redora, me, Josh, Gary, Armando, Jaime again, Gevork, and Vaughn. If you didn't make it this week on the leaderboards, maybe you can do it next week. Maybe you're motivated to be on the leaderboards. If I have to be honest, that's what motivates me. That's why I run a lot, so I can be on the leaderboards every week. So maybe that's you. And now we're moving on to challenge number 3 with instructor Bree. So I hope next Saturday you are free. Or not next Saturday, April 17th. So April 17th at 9 a.m. Bree is going to start spring into yoga. You have all day to complete it. Our goal is to have 30 participants. So bring your friend, bring your mom, bring your dad, bring your neighbor. Take a picture in your favorite pose and make sure you are smiling, because the last thing we want any of this to feel like is like a second job. So we want to make sure we're enjoying this, having lots of fun. And now we're moving on to education with David.
Thank you, Saul. Good evening, everyone. My name is David. For those of you who don't know me, who don't know me, my name is David. But before we actually get into the education that is on the slides, we're first going to look over a video that Lauren was so kindly to put together. This video is about sleep, and it's just going to relate to the information we're going to learn, which is sleeping for recovery.
Welcome back, everyone. Today, I'm talking about the importance of sleep. So let's jump right into it. Sleeping. Your body is like a phone. It drains during the day and charges at night. And when it charges, it restores and rebuilds muscle, stores long-term memory, and you're overall happier person. So you might be asking yourself, do I need more sleep? Well, here's some signs you do. You have confusion or impaired judgment, you're sick often, workouts are harder, you're unhappy, or you could be struggling with weight. Now, here's a little example. Billy and Bob both have to run a marathon at tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Billy, he's staying up the night before and playing video games, eating chips. While Bob, he went to bed at 9:30 and he had a hearty meal. Now let's look at the aftermath of these decisions. Billy is exhausted. He can't keep up. He's doing terribly. While Bob, he is flourishing. This is the best mile ever for him. And this was all because he had adequate sleep. Here are some tips for better sleep. You can do yoga or stretching 5 to 15 minutes before bed. You can read. You can sleep for 7 to 9 hours. You can get regular exercise, and you can sleep in the dark. And with that being said, thanks for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.
Big round of applause for Lauren. That was such an amazing video. Great editing, very informative. And it correlates perfectly to what our education is going to be about today. So let's get right into it. This week, we're going to be learning about the importance of sleeping for recovery. Now, before we get into going about sleep, we're first going to know what happens to our body when we're working out. So, contrary to popular belief, our bodies do not recover, they do not develop and get better in the moment when we're working out. When we're actually working out, we're pushing ourselves, we're lifting weights, we're running, our muscles get fatigued. The great thing about it though, is that our bodies recover immediately after we're done working out. So let's just say you work out from 7 o'clock in the morning to 9 o'clock in the morning. The moment you stop at 9 o'clock, your body's already gonna continue to recover itself. Another misconception is the more you work out, the more you can achieve. However, the reality is the more workout you do, it's not going to have as much of an impact to your body if you don't have adequate sleep or adequate recovery to go along with it. So with that being said, we also got to take into account when we're not working out throughout the day, our muscles are still being used whether we like it or not. So let's just say we're sitting down onto a chair, we're getting back up, we're using our legs to squat ourselves up and down. When we have to take groceries from the car to the front door, we're using our arms to carry the groceries, we're using our back and our legs to pick them off the ground. So throughout the entire day, we're using our muscles nonstop. So it's very important that they have adequate time to sleep and fully recover. So with that being said, now we're going to move on to specifically why sleeping is one of the best recovery methods. So as I said, our body recovers immediately after when it's working out, but it is most effective when we're sleeping. Why? Because we're going hours at a time where we're just going nothing, we're doing nothing but inactivity. We're finally resting, we're not demanding anything of our muscles. We're literally just in bed, eyes shut, relaxing. This is a perfect time for recovery because we're going hours at a time. And during these hours, our body is releasing important hormones that they need, that the muscles specifically need to recover and recuperate yourself to continue doing what you do best, working out the upcoming day. Another great thing about sleeping is that, I'm sorry, so the hormones, they fill up our muscles, you're ready to recover. The next day, you're able to push yourself again. And now the great thing about sleeping and recovery is that it not only impacts you while you're in the moment working out, it not only just relates to just fitness in general, it also has other benefits that carries over to everyday activities we do throughout the day. So one of the best things about sleeping, helps you recover faster for your next workout. You feel good Monday working out, boom, you sleep, you're ready for Tuesday's workout. Another great thing about sleeping, it improves your cognitive function. Now, what is cognitive function? It's simply your brain power. The more you sleep, the more well-rested your brain is going to be. The more well-rested your brain is going to be, the better you can think throughout the day, the better decision-making you are during the day, the faster you can comprehend what people are telling you and process information. Just overall, the more sleep you get, the more well-rested your brain will be to work more efficiently throughout the day. It also increases your energy throughout the day. Now, I'm sure many of us have felt when we wake up in the morning, we're feeling drowsy, tired throughout the day. We're in the office, we're in front of our classrooms, and we're just trying really hard not to doze off. That could be from lack of sleep. So it's very important you get the right amount of sleep. You won't feel as tired throughout the day, and you have the energy to get you up and going. And another great benefit of sleeping is it reduces your blood pressure. When we're running around throughout the day, whether it be running errands, actually working out, going up and down the stairs, or even just sitting, being awake, our heart rate is constantly going, it's constantly beating because we're just so busy doing everything that we need to get done. So when we sleep, it finally gives us a chance for our heart to slow down. It realizes that our body is not being required to do anything. So our heart finally has a chance to take it easy. And this results in lower blood pressure. So as you can see, all this sleep is very important to our bodies. We may not get enough sleep as we may need due to constantly being busy, having to do so much in one day. But ultimately, if you just want to live a healthier lifestyle, you want more efficient workouts, you want better brain power, more energy throughout the day, lower blood pressure, just increased overall health, we need to dedicate adequate amount of time to sleeping. It's one of the best recovery methods. It's free, it costs nothing, and it's something that everyone enjoys. Does anyone have any questions regarding sleep?
How about power naps?
Yes, I love power naps. I go one at least every day because I'm not gonna lie, I feel tired after I'm done with my classes, but I still need to work out. I don't want to feel drowsy during my workout. I make sure to include power naps. But for me personally, one thing I would recommend is don't sleep for too long because then that might throw off your sleep schedule at night. So just a quick 10 to 20 power nap, enough for you to get going with the rest of the day. So yes, I am a big advocate for power naps. Any other questions? If there's no other questions, we could pass on to Bree for important dates.
Awesome. Thank you so much, David. I know that now I think I'm going to go to bed right now. I'm just kidding. I have to tell you all the important dates before we do that. So first, to get started, tomorrow, April 7th, we have a Facebook Live with Omar, our Couch to Strength at 7 p.m. So tomorrow, 7 p.m., be there. They also record them so you can do them whenever you want. Wednesday, April 7th, we have a meeting for our weight loss program. So last week we mentioned this. If this is something that is a goal of yours, this is a really great opportunity because you have a time where you can actually schedule one-on-one with a nutrition counselor at CSUN. It's free. So it's a really great opportunity to take advantage of if that's one of your goals. And so that meeting is tomorrow at 5 p.m. If you are interested, reach out to your coach and they can put you in contact with the right person to make sure that you get invited to that. Thursday, April 8th is our El Camino meeting for our Spanish speaking community. If you have friends who are in the Spanish speaking community, or if you yourself are and you want to be a part of that group, it meets every Thursday at 7 p.m. Thursday also, the second episode of our Yoga for Life series is available. So last week we had the first episode. A bunch of you took part in that. That was super fun. And then we have the second episode on Thursday. So feel free to join that. And then Friday, April 9th, so this Friday, we have another Facebook Live with Back to Basics, and that'll be with Saul at 1 p.m. And then Saturday, April 17th is our challenge. So we want to keep reminding you guys our Spring into Yoga challenge with me so we can get mobile, get moving, get our bodies feeling good, and get us springing back forward doesn't make sense. Springing forward into our spring and summer season. So now, instead of our family time tonight, like I mentioned at the beginning, we are actually going to have a special presentation with two ladies who are here from the Movement Network. I just want to make sure that they are in fact here. Josh, could you let me know, are Lauren and Simia currently here with us? Perhaps.
I don't see Lauren.
Oh, Lauren Whitrock. I think she just is joining now. So Lauren,
Erica
you're
here.
here. Perfect. Lauren, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, perfect. Is Simia here yet with you?
No, she's not. Sorry, we were told 7:30. So I think we're just finishing up with our patients and we will be ready shortly.
Oh yeah, of course. No worries at all.
Actually, let's take the opportunity, since we have a couple minutes, to refresh everyone's memory of what the Movement Network provides.
Sure. Yeah. So I was going to talk about that when she came on, but I can go ahead and start. So it's not a problem. So the Movement Network is a group of physical therapists. We're in multiple states all across the US, and we were founded here in Los Angeles, though. We were born out of the Black Lives Matters protests during COVID. Because we felt that there were a lot of people who needed physical therapy services, who maybe don't have insurance or don't know the right paths to go to seek physical therapy. So we created the Movement Network as a way to provide those services pretty much to everyone who would like to seek them pro bono. And our goal really is to come see us first. Right now, we're just doing telehealth services due to COVID. There's talks of changing that as restrictions change, and maybe getting some in-person experience as well with patients. But the idea is that we'll see you and guide you through a few sessions and give you the tools to feel like you can get better, or refer you to a physical therapist in your area, or help you navigate the healthcare system in the United States in general. Because as we all know, it can be a little bit complicated. So that is what we do. And we're also starting partnerships with different organizations such as 3 Wins. And we're hoping to kind of have, mutually beneficial partnerships where we can refer patients that are feeling better and want to get to exercise to you guys. And then we are more than happy to help anybody out, any participants who are experiencing any pain or anything that they think would fall under the category of physical therapy. So that's a little overview of who we are and what we do. Does anybody have any questions for me about the Movement Network based off that?
Bree, do you mind stop sharing the screen so we can see all the participants? Thank you.
Perfect. Wow, so many people. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
Thanks for that introduction, Lauren. We have had quite a few of our participants taking advantage of what Movement Network offers, and they've been very happy with the opportunity to be able to speak to someone, as many have begun their exercise programs and run into different challenges, as you know, we all do when we become more active. So we're very appreciative of everything that's been offered, and certainly as Simia comes on board, the opportunity for you both to speak to us tonight. So thank you very much.
Absolutely.
And thank you to Erica. I think she's on here somewhere, that made the connection for us to you.
Yeah, she's been fantastic. Thank you so much, Erica. And yeah, we have actually seen quite a few participants already. I'm actually seeing Sandra, and we've had a couple sessions together, and it's so great. I'm so glad that you guys are really taking advantage of this opportunity. And any feedback that you have is fantastic. We're learning as we go, and we're always happy to improve upon the services if there's anything that is glitchy or isn't going well. Let us know. Also, if there's things that you're really enjoying about it, yeah, let us know that too. Is Samaya is on?
Hey, Lauren.
Hey.
Hey, everybody.
Nice to meet you guys. Sorry, I'm running a little behind. I'm actually still at work. I just got done with my patient. Lauren, you introduced the Movement Network.
I did. I talked about who we are, how we started, and kind of the services we're providing. And then we were just getting into talking a little bit about how we are already seeing some participants and how that has been going. And then actually, while we're on that topic, just in case anyone here is during this meeting, after this meeting, 3 weeks from now, whenever you may need our services, I just want to go over where you can find that. So actually, if you go to the 3 Wins website and you go to the programs, you'll see the Movement Network under programs, and there's actually 2 different links there. There's an English link and there's also a Spanish link. And we have physical therapists that are, I think, fluent. They're definitely fluent in Spanish. And so if that's your first language, then absolutely go ahead and make an appointment on there, and we'll make sure that you get a Spanish speaking provider. And I also want to explain this too, because this can be a little tricky with the platform that we use. You'll go on once you click on that link and you'll request a date and a time to meet with us. Now, that date and time may change once the physical therapist connects with you. So keep an eye out in your email for an email from somebody saying, hey, I'm your physical therapist from the Movement Network, because they're probably going to reschedule that time and date for something that works mutually with the 2 of you, which that's something that the website doesn't say. So, and we're working on kind of getting a better system for that. But right now, that's kind of what we're working with. So just keep an eye out for an email from a physical therapist from the Movement Network that says, hey, we're here, we're really excited to meet you, and let's work together on a date and time. That's all I have. Anything else, Samaya? Do you want to talk about physical therapy in general a little bit, and maybe some of the things that might lead a participant to reach out to us?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys again for having us. We're so excited to get to work with you guys. By a show of hands, Zoom hands, who has done physical therapy in the past, not just with us, but with anybody? Okay, very good. So it's a high number of hands. I love it. So that's awesome. So some of you guys know what physical therapy is, and then I see some of you guys still haven't been to physical therapy before. So the way I always kind of describe physical therapy to like my friends and my family is we're kind of like a combination between like where fitness and medicine meet. So kind of what we do is we treat the body, and we also treat kind of mind and soul too, but we kind of help people get to their maximal level of function. So whatever it is that you want to do in terms of goals, so it's participating in 3 Wins or it's related to your job, we're the ones to help you do that. So a lot of times we get patients that come to us, they come from like their primary care where they might have low back pain. Their primary care physician will kind of screen out to make sure that it's not coming from like any organ problems, nothing is serious. And then once they kind of realize like this is from the muscles, this is from the joints, that's where we take over. So actually I've been really fortunate to treat a couple physicians in my time, and they know that they're good inside the body, but we're good on the muscles and the joints. So that's our specialty. So as physical therapists, in today's world, you have to go to get your doctorate of physical therapy. So we're really well educated in exercise science and exercise physiology. So that's why I think we make a natural partner with 3 Wins, because I know all of you guys are really motivated to get your fitness as high as possible and to keep having a lot of fun and doing a lot of fun things. So as PTs, that's what we're kind of all about, is getting you back to the things that bring value to your life, whether it's occupational or recreational. And what we do a lot of times, so as Lauren mentioned with our Movement Network, we're primarily on Zoom. So since we're on Zoom, we do a lot of movement analysis. So we might have our patients move around to see where they need to improve muscle flexibility or joint flexibility, and then where they need to strengthen their muscles as well. If you need to kind of follow up from the Movement Network, Lauren and I, we practice in person, and we see primarily patients in person. So we'll do all those same things, but we might add manual therapy techniques on top of that. So that can be kind of soft tissue mobilizations, joint manipulations, So we crack necks and backs too, not just chiropractors. So unless anyone has any questions, would love, I know you guys wanted to kind of hear about arthritis and how to manage that, as it's like a really common condition. So if anyone has any questions throughout kind of this time, feel free to kind of jump in, put your questions in the chat, put your little hand raising sign on. Lauren, did you have anything to add about kind of what we do as physical therapists?
No, I think you kind of covered it all. And I think also, too, just in addition to that, like I mentioned when I talked about the Movement Network, we're really just here for you guys as well as a resource. If you have any questions at all related to healthcare or PT, we'll do our best to answer those. And if we aren't the right provider for you, we will try and get you paired up with the person who will answer those questions for you. So don't feel like you have to have a broken ankle to come talk to us. It could be, you know, it could be really anything like Samaya was talking about, and maybe it's something more cardiovascular related, heart or lung, and we can get you to the right person, but maybe it also is related to your exercise. And so then we can kind of work with you and other providers to answer it. So there's no question that's too big or too small. You can always just make an appointment with us and kind of see if it's the appropriate thing for you. Don't hesitate.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So if I already seen one of you guys before, and if I want to see another one again, do I need to do the referral the way it was done before, or
That's actually,
do I do that?
That's a great question. Is it for the same body part or something?
No, it's a different body part.
Okay, then we will have you fill out that form again, just because it's a different body part, and you, the way that we work, you might have a different therapist who's working with you. So I would just start that process over again, if that's okay.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. Anybody else have questions just about how to sign up? Anything else about us before we talk about arthritis?
All right, guys.
This is,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
hi, this is Lorraine. I just wanted to say that it's been 10 years since I went to physical therapy for my first time in my working career. And I'm still doing those same exercises today. And I can't believe how, I guess, how I improved. It was a slow improvement. And at first I was thinking, I'm not going to get better. It was a bursa in my shoulder, and it was due to rolling into my screen, you know, sitting at my desk, and I couldn't even lift my arm. And I was thinking, oh my God, this is the end of my career. What am I going to do? And it was the best thing ever. So I was very impressed by the physical therapy. It was at USC. I work at USC. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for sharing that story with us. We love hearing that it was so impactful for you, and that, you know, those exercises can still be important, you know, years later. You can always go back to them if you're starting to feel that shoulder again, and you just have that home base. So you had a really good physical therapist. So
yeah, I was so scared that I do them every day, no matter what. They don't take long or anything, but I do them.
Oh, I need to bring you to the clinic to talk to some of my patients about their home exercise.
Really? Oh, yeah. I'm faithful with that. I'm surprised because I just started 3 wins. I'm not a workout person, but that is, you know, I've been you know, improving with the workouts.
That's great to hear. Lauren and I both graduated from USC, so we're happy to hear that. So a little fight on.
Yes. Yes.
But that's great. And yeah, I think that's going to bring up a really good point, is where kind of physical therapy can help you guys as you participate in 3 wins. So as you're kind of doing all your exercises with 3 wins or just on your own, if you guys are finding that you're having pain, as Lorraine had mentioned, like, we're kind of here to help you get rid of that and help you figure out and add extra exercises to strengthen the muscles to help get rid of your pain. So Lauren and I will talk a little bit about arthritis and how to manage that. But if you guys have any more questions about what PT is and how it could potentially help you, or what diagnosis we treat feel free to email us, ask us, email your Erica, and Erica will get it to us. But just so you know, we treat everything. So headaches, we treat everything. So we can help you guys. But cool, do you guys would want to talk about arthritis? Who in here has arthritis or knows someone that has arthritis? I see everybody's hand going up. It's so true. And I think that's the first point that kind of Lauren and I had talked about earlier, what we wanted to bring to you guys is arthritis is something that's natural in life. So just like everything, I can always give my patients this analogy, like you have a car, right? And you have to take your car to get oil changed. And as the car gets older, you have to take it to get its oil changed and maintenance more often because there's wear and tear, and that's natural for anything in life. That's why it's so common. That's why everyone raised their hand. So that's why we want to help you guys manage that. So the biggest thing with arthritis is pain and loss of range of motion. Those are two biggest complaints. Oh, and stiffness, a lot of stiffness. So kind of we see arthritis typically affects the knees, the hips, and the lower back, typically onsetting around 50 years old. But it can also vary. It can be it can be in the hands, it can be other places, and it can happen older or younger. But like you said, it's a part of life, so we have to deal with it. So I think the biggest thing that I always tell my patients is, you know, I hate to be cliche, but, you know, movement is the best medicine, motion is lotion, okay? You guys are already on a great path to kind of overcoming these natural problems in life because you're already working out. So that's the biggest thing is you always want to work out. So when you have arthritis, typically people will find, right, it's a inflammatory process affecting the joints, right? So when you have a flare up, it might be kind of hard for you to walk around or to do heavy squatting or lifting and carrying, yes, steal that, lifting and carrying heavy things. It's hard on the joints, right? We talked about it affects the joints. So what should we do? We should adapt our exercises, right? So an example would be if you have knee arthritis and it's hurting for you to squat, it's hurting for you to walk long periods, don't stop moving. So we might do some different exercises. We might use some resistance bands. We might do some like bridges, anything to strengthen the legs without loading the joints, right? So that's kind of the biggest thing I want you guys to take away today is that we have to protect our joints. If we're having pain, don't stop moving, but try to modify your movement so that you can continue to strengthen your muscles. Does that make sense to everyone so far? Everyone's nodding and thumbing up. Okay, we like to see that. Yeah. So kind of going on top of that, so I get one of the common questions that we get a lot of time is, do I heat or do I ice? Lauren, how many times?
All the time.
All the time.
All the problems.
So we always get the heat or ice question. And the kind of the way I go is heat first, ice after, right? So another characteristic of OA that we see a lot of times is stiffness, right? So heat morning, so taking a nice hot shower helps loosen up the muscles. It helps loosen up the joints. So you can take a nice hot shower. You could use a hot pack, especially like we talked about, arthritis tends to come in waves and tends to be in flares. So if it's a bad time, take the extra time in the morning and warm things up a little bit. And that's sort of kind of back to the point, don't stop moving. So we want you to continue to come to 3 Winds and to continue to do your workout. So if you need to take some 10 minutes before, get a hot pack and warm up the joints. And then we do some ice after. Ice will help take away the muscle achy pain, right? You have a good hard workout and your muscles get achy. Ice will help kind of reduce that a little bit. So that's kind of the rule I typically follow. The only other caveat I would say is if you're noticing swelling in your joints, which can happen with arthritis, or it can happen with like, you know, you sprain your ankle, something along those lines, definitely want to put ice on a swollen joint. Lauren, anything else you want to add on that?
No, I think you covered it mostly, and it's common for arthritis for you to kind of feel it first thing in the morning, and that's why we keep saying like when you shower in the morning, put some heat on it, those kind of things. And then again, just to reiterate, with heat, you're thinking of increasing blood flow and circulation to the joint, which is why that's great to do beforehand. And then that ice, like Samaya was saying, is going to be good for decreasing your pain and inflammation. So that's also what I like to talk to patients about when they're like, do I heat or do I ice? My follow-up is like, okay, well, when are you feeling this pain? What kind of pain is it? What are your goals in using this modality?
Yeah, and then so I also wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about other things you guys can do to manage the joints, right? Always affected the joints. So I think protecting your joints. So like talked about, you know, avoiding unnecessary weight bearing activities when you're having pain. And then also, you know, you do have to continue life. You got to go to work. Well, maybe some of you are working from home, but typically you got to go to work. You got to take care of your family. So making certain that you're wearing like the proper shoes is really good. So having nice like cushion on your shoes, replacing them often. So if you are someone who likes to run, walk, and hike a lot, I would say, you know, we say every 300 miles. So kind of guesstimate around there. So maybe every like 3 or 4 months, you want to try to get a new pair of shoes, or you can have like 2 pair of shoes. This is what I do. I get them when they're on a deal because I'm super cheap, and then I just alternate them so that they last longer. So that's what I like to do. And then some of you guys might find that you need a cane, or yes, Cassandra's with me. You got to stay on the deals, always on the deals. But some of you guys might find or give advice to some of your family members who's a little older, is using a cane or an assistive device. So in our PT world, we have like kind of like an intrinsic battle with like canes. Some people think that they make you look old, and then some people use them too often. But if you need it, use it. That's kind of where we can help you guys, and we can help your family members. Anyone who has questions, PT. So we're really good at getting you guys the right device and helping you use it. See, David, I love it. But yeah, guys, so if you feel like if you're having a really bad flare, so typically patients who have with a knee OA or hip OA, if you're in the middle of a flare, using a cane and the opposite arm will help offload that joint so that you can continue to your daily walks, you continue, and yeah, hiking pole's perfect, continue with your daily life and just offload that joint a little bit. And it's not something that you have to use forever. It can help you get through a flare. But again, if you guys have any questions or friends, family questions about how to use it, if you're using it right, that's kind of where we as PTs can definitely come in and help you guys.
Definitely. Yeah, walking with a cane, even for a period of time while you're in a flare, is way better than staying at home and sitting on the couch or laying in bed and not moving because of that pain. Does anybody have any questions for us based off of what we've kind of talked about with OA so far? Does this sound like stuff that you've heard before, or anything that you want to dive deeper into?
Lauren, I have a quick question. Can you speak to why does arthritis that it comes in waves, and is there a supplement or something to avoid getting arthritis other than moisture lotion?
Sorry, that kind of came in and out a little bit, but you asked me how you can, if you can avoid getting arthritis, and what was the first part?
He said, go ahead, David.
If there's a supplement,
why does it come in flares?
Oh,
like,
why does it come in waves?
Yeah, I can answer that. So kind of like, you know, if we get down to, I'm like really nerdy. So if you guys ever have like super nerdy questions, feel free to ask me. But so we get down to kind of like from the bones, right? So all of our bones are surrounded by connective tissue called like our joint capsule. So in that capsule, there's a lot of like cellular things going on. There's fluid that moves around, right? You guys probably heard about joint fluid. There's a lot of cellular stuff. So sometimes in that capsule, there's just inflammation that builds up. Right? Inflammation's natural thing that happens in our body, but as you guys know, in other conditions, when you have too much inflammation, it's a bad thing. So why it's cyclical? It's kind of a bit of a question that's kind of don't really know. We just know it is cyclical, and it just has to do with the buildup of inflammatory cells. So that's kind of where We do lean on our kind of physician colleagues. If you have underlying inflammatory conditions or autoimmune conditions that leaves your body more susceptible to inflammation, that could be a contributing factor. So generally though, what I tell patients to manage kind of inflammation is just being healthy, right? So just a well-balanced, healthy diet. So just kind of, you know, all the typical things that you hear for everything. Don't go too hard on the red meats, you know, alcohol consumption is moderate, right? So all those things that you would do to just manage inflammation.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And there's also different stages of osteoarthritis as well. And so once you kind of go further down the line, I think that's when you're going to see more constant pain and more inflammation too, as it gets worse.
And then in the chat, so people are asking kind of about any supplements that you can take. Great. So off the top of my head, I don't typically recommend supplements to patients just because I think that's a better question for you to ask your primary care, who knows your full medical background. But I typically say just take like a daily multivitamin is healthy, and just eating healthy. I think you are what you eat. It's such a true statement. So just eat healthy. You don't have to go vegan or anything unless that's your thing, but eat healthy. And then sleep and stress, critical. It's critical. I mean, your body is, everything is connected. I think, you know, as PTs, we see that every single day with our patients, and their performance is connected directly to stress in their life and sleep. So you guys, you know, maybe it's something we could talk about at a different session. We could do like a whole thing on just like sleep hygiene and tricks and strategies to sleep, but you want to get your 7 to 8 hours and you want to de-stress. So whatever that is for you guys, yoga, meditation, I like to listen to podcasts. So whatever it is to just kind of get you guys out of that stress, that's what you got to do. And this kind of like Lauren said, as PTs, we can help you get connected with providers. So if you're having trouble managing your stress, feel free to reach out to us and we can try to make some recommendations of like psychologists in your area. But that's what I would do. Yoga, meditate. Lauren?
There's also a question here that says, are some people genetically predisposed? So I think, you know, like we said, arthritis is something that kind of everybody is predisposed to, but yes, some people are going to get it sooner. Some people, the effects might be there earlier than others. Also, sometimes, you know, if you did imaging, you might have arthritis, but you don't feel it. Other times, you know, you really feel it and it's not that bad. It kind of varies. However, if you were very active in a lot of sports when you're younger, if you had a traumatic injury when you were younger, say, for example, you had your ACL repaired at a very young age, like in your teenage years, a meniscus tear when you were younger, things like that could potentially predispose you to an earlier onset of osteoarthritis. Like, for example, I have a patient who played professional football and he is going to get his total knee done around like 50. That's pretty early. But it can happen. And that's like an example of somebody at like the top extreme level of athleticism. And I think he had 2 ACL repairs when he was young. Things like that are going to predispose you. But for the average person, it kind of just comes with how you get older. And I also, you know, I think too that there's this balance in what we do in physical therapy of like, if you're sedentary, that can cause, and you're not as active, that can cause a lot of injuries, but also being active, you're going to see a whole different set of injuries. And I think it's more important in life to, you know, be active, do what you got to do, because then you can come see us and you'll see us sooner and we'll be able to manage that pain that you have and get you back to what you enjoy doing, more so than on that other end of things where you're not being active and there's like a lot of layers that we have to peel back and go from there. So I don't think it's something to be worried about. And it just comes naturally. And we have a lot of tools and ways to manage arthritis. And there's so many more options out there now than what there used to be. And actually, I think research has shown that in moderate to moderate cases of osteoarthritis, physical therapy is going to be your best option.
Yeah, I'm going to get to these questions, and I just want to piggyback off that point too. If you have had injuries in the past, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get OA. And if you do, you do, and you're going to manage it because you guys are all tough anyway. But I think kind of what you guys are doing already and working out and exercising, that's the best way to prevent OA, is to get really strong. And because sometimes it's like a process that you can't control if you get it or not, but you can control if you're strong, right? So you can be strong going into it, and you can be strong once you get it, and that's how you can not let it affect you. That's the ultimate goal. Some good questions. Erica asked if we could explain the difference between osteoporosis and osteoarthritis. Great question. So again, arthritis is going to affect your joints, all right? So the space between two bones. And then osteoporosis is a condition that affects the bones themselves. So it's a disease that occurs when the body is like losing more bone than it's able to make or maintain, right? So your bones are literally getting a little bit thin. And that's okay. It's a process that happens. It typically affects women, older women, and women a little bit on the skinnier side. There's a couple other things that can go into it as well. But again, these are processes that happen. They're natural processes, and you can't always, you can't prevent them, right? Things in life like ankle sprain or ACL injury, right? Those are things that we can do exercises to try to make you stronger so they don't happen. But these are conditions that happen to your body. So I always kind of tell patients, like, don't feel bad. Like it's not your fault. But osteoporosis, managing that is, again, exercise. Motion is lotion. You guys already like that one. So again, exercise, right? Because exercise is going to reduce stress on your joints and your bones. With osteoporosis, it's actually helpful to have a good balance of walking, because weight bearing actually can help with your bone stimulation and your bone growth. But again, it's always about balance with the pain and the benefits. So that can, again, just kind of monitor that. Being healthy, you can take vitamins like vitamin D and calcium. So especially younger people, if you don't have osteoporosis, make sure you're getting enough vitamin D and calcium, right? That can help your long-term bone health. So luckily we live in California, so you can just go outside to get your vitamin D. So that's a bonus. Lauren, anything else you want to add to that?
Yeah, and kind of if you're looking at osteoarthritis versus osteoporosis, the biggest thing is with osteoporosis, you actually want to load the bones themselves. So by loading the bones, that actually makes them stronger. Whereas with osteoarthritis, you want to decrease the amount of impact activity you're doing. So it's a little bit of the opposite. I know one of the other questions was, what kind of activities do you want to avoid if you have osteoarthritis? If your osteoarthritis is really bothering you, probably you don't want to be doing as many jumping activities. You want to find ways to modify, right? So instead of doing a jumping jack, let's see if I can show you guys me moving in my office here. So, right, if you don't want to like actually jump, you can do things to modify, like step outs, things like that, so that you're still getting the same amount of cardio. You're still moving your body around. You're just not jumping on that joint that's already irritated and painful. Whereas somebody who doesn't have that joint pain and they have osteoporosis and their bones are a little weaker, they want to build up to a point where they could jump and load those bones a little more. But it doesn't have to be jumping. It could just be, like Samaya was saying, going on a walk daily, things like that, squatting with a little bit of weight. Another thing you can do to modify for osteoarthritis is, instead of like, my dog's gonna be here too, instead of like a deep squat, right? You can limit your range and you can just squat into a smaller range. Things like that are gonna be really helpful. If you have access to a pool, doing exercises in water, that's going to decrease the load that you have through your joints, but you're still going to get your heart rate up and you're still going to be moving. That's also an option too, as other means of exercise that can be helpful. Anything else off the top of your head?
So I definitely, I agree with everything Lauren said. And these are, feel free to email us too if you have questions. Because I know it kind of gets a little tricky on how to modify things, but that's kind of where that's a good example of what we do as PTs, right? So come to us and we'll help you kind of navigate through this. And then someone said, Marley, clarification, arthritis and osteoarthritis. So for the sake of our talk today, yes, technically there's like dozens of kinds of arthritis. There's like rheumatoid arthritis, all types of arthritis, juvenile arthritis. So they're all slightly different, typically just inflammatory processes affecting the joints. But typically when you hear people say arthritis, they mean OA, which is osteoarthritis. Great question. If anyone ever has questions about the other type of arthritises, we'll love to talk to you about that too. Awesome. So I think does anyone have any more questions? I know we covered a lot. Cool. Well, this again, guys, feel free to email us and then feel free to kind of get set up with a PT too. So we can break down things and make it all personalized for you guys. But also kind of this is kind of what we wanted to talk about too, is our organization, we hope to come back and talk to you guys like once a month. So feel free to, I don't know, Erica, how you want to collect this, but we want to know what topics you guys want to hear about so that when we come back in the class next time, we can just kind of keep having awesome discussions.
Yeah, I think she gave a link. She gave her email. So you can email, it's in the chat here. You can email Erica and let her know kind of any topic that you guys want to know more about in detail, kind of like how we did this today. We want to try and make it even more formal as we go forward and kind of give you guys some pictures and slides and things like that so that you have a better understanding of all the things that we're talking about, because I know that it can get a little bit like detailed and sciencey. But we're going to try and keep it in a way that everybody can understand, but still go into all the details. So that's coming soon. We're going to try and come we'll drop in every now and then and talk to you guys about some more things about PT. So just let us know what you're interested in, and we're happy to be here for you and be a good resource.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Lauren and Samaya. That was a lot of really good information. And I know that it was super helpful for all of our participants and for us as coaches too. It was super helpful to learn about all that stuff. So thank you again for that. And then let me just, perfect. All right, everyone. I hope that information was super helpful for you and kind of helpful to just learn about how to move your body in general. And I know now I kind of feel like Oprah and I want to just give everybody sleep. Like you get some sleep and you get some sleep and you get some sleep, because we all could use a lot more of it for just healing our bodies and helping with our muscle recovery. If you have questions about anything that you learned this evening, please feel free to reach out to your coach. If the email kind of got lost in the chat, you can always reach out to your coach and they can definitely put you in communication with the right person, so you can get in touch with Lauren or Samaya or any of the other PTs that they work with. So does anyone have any final questions or comments before we conclude our evening? Can Oprah give me an A on the midterms? I hope Oprah can give you an A on your midterms. I'll just send you good vibes. Everyone send good vibes so that everyone gets A's on their midterms.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. Have a wonderful evening, a wonderful week. And remember, motion is lotion. I think that was my learning takeaway from this whole evening. Thank you so much. Have a great night, you guys. See you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful good night, everyone.
Everyone, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks to all.
Thanks. Good night.
Bye, Gary. Great work, Bree. Very well done.
Thanks. Sorry about the screen share bloopers.
No. Outside of that, you seem like a natural up there.
I try.
Can you stop the recording, please? And then